Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning into it's now Ratchet Production. I got to get Dave on that. Ratchet Production Studio. We're just trying to change things up a little bit, fool with the algorithm some. And I kind of fit the narrative with the whole me being an auto technician, broadcasting out of a shop, got this uniform thing on, and it's sort of a ragtag production anyway. So I think it goes hand in hand with what we got going on. Thank goodness we got Matt to keep me in somewhat of a precision alignment. I want to thank Matt for being here from American Patriots. God, it screws me up that you know. I changed the name to mine too, so now everybody's going to be screwed up. But anyways, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you very
much. Yep. Thank y'all for being here. Appreciate it. Please hit that like button.
Really helps
out the channel.
Yep. So we're gonna see what happens, guys. Hopefully we can try to get things rolling on this network here. It's not about the money. It's about trying to do something to change the narrative of the left that's doing everything in their power, which I say left, I should say the globalist elite whose job is to try to destroy this country. So because we're the last standing beacon of freedom and an example for the world to follow. I mean, when everybody would say, you know, I used to be back in the 80s and 90s, you know, they would be like, look at America, how free it is. And people over in other countries saw that. The leaders didn't. They're like, screw the freedom. And then all that kind of giving you a Arnold Schwarzenegger reference of how somebody can come over here and just immediately want to run things.
But Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't sound like a Russian. He's Austrian.
So, it's not a tumor.
There you go.
Not a tumor.
That's better. Tumor.
This is a ferret. It's not a rat. Remember in the movie? It's like, anyway, so yeah. Back in the heyday of Hollywood, we're going to talk a little bit about what's happened with Ken Paxton getting headed off by Illinois officials.
They're coming home anyway. They're going to be there for whenever they do the vote. I believe the special quorum when they'll be there for quorum in next couple weeks, and then it already passed the Senate. It's going to pass the House, and then they'll redraw the districts. So.
Better be scared of what Gavin Newsom's fixing to do because he was already doing it anyways. Now he's just making it public.
Well, no, the thing is he can't do it because first thing, the difference between Texas and California and New York is New York and California have to have a constitutional amendment in their states to actually change district lines. Not only that, for them to get that, they have to get the people in the state to decide that they want that to happen. That means that there has to be initiative on the ballot in 2025 in November, and you vote yes or no on it. And if it passes, they'll go ahead and redistrict. I don't know if it's going to pass or not. We'll see what happens. But the thing is, here's the interesting thing. If you look at the seat margins, there's 52 seats in California. How many are owned by Republicans? How many does Republicans run? 12.
I was going to say it's real low number. Yeah,
they run 12 of them. Okay, so they could affect 12 seats, pretty much what he's trying to say, and he's also saying we'll make the other blue seats more blue. That's what he's saying too.
Yeah.
In Texas, they have 38 congressional seats. How many of those seats do Democrats control?
Is it 12 or 13, something like that?
13.
Yeah.
They control 13. Yeah. So, be quite honest with you, there's not a whole lot he could do. When it comes to that. Then you have
that's why Trump even said it. He said, "Go ahead, Gavin, make my day."
Then you have New York that has 8. There's not a whole lot they could do either. And then, and Florida's doing they're redistricting. They're going to get Republicans another 4 to 5 seats. Ohio's going to give them another 2 to 3 seats. Missouri's getting them about 1, and then there's a couple other states that are going to get them 1 or 2. So I tend to look at it, and I'm like this. Look, do I like the idea of gerrymandering? No. I think it's completely wrong. I think it's actually somewhat unconstitutional because what you're doing is really having the political parties deciding who their voters are instead of the voters deciding who their representative is. But if you look at what they've done in Illinois and other countries, it's absolutely crazy what they had done. I mean, Illinois, Trump won like 43% of the vote. Republicans win 40 to 45% of the vote there, and they only have 3 seats.
Yeah. Something's really strange about that.
Out of 19, 3 seats out. That's strange. That's weird. And the only way that can happen is by just gerrymandering the hell out of it and having a bunch of these crooked lines and everything to make it look crazy.
Well, they like to do it by more. They try to do it more by race than actual voters. What they want.
Well, there's a lot of racial component on it, but it's also about another thing. Also, that is a component on it is city lines, city districts. Also, if you look at the Illinois map, you had them lose a congressional seat last election, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens? Who loses the seat? Even though Republicans at the time, all they had was 5 seats at the time, and Democrats had, I believe, 20. Had the rest of them, which I think was about. There's 21 seats, so they had like 17. Okay, They lost 2 congressional seats actually, and Republicans lost both of them. The way they drew the lines. Which my question is, how does that happen? The only way that happens is you absolutely gerrymander the hell out of the thing, where you bring down some of the blue down to rural areas where there's not a big population, in order to encompass that, to make it where it fit and get the right population for that congressional district, because that's what the congressional district is. It's based off population.
Right. Yeah. That's why they like the illegals in there, because it kind of increases their population so that they can put more people in.
Yep.
It's gaming the system 100%, and that to me is exactly what they project Republicans are doing. But it's their agenda to game the system in a very strategic manner, where you have to really look closely at what's going on to be able to point it out. It's not it's not just right in front of your face. I mean, it is to people who understand things. You do a great job being able to break it down, but there's a lot of people out there that kind of just take things for face value and don't understand what's going on. And, good thing that we're talking about it here, because like you said before, we really need to hammer on what's going on with the, with these redistricting, because this is where you can actually make the biggest difference and do it legally and ethically.
Well, the other thing also Republicans want to do this, I want to add this to it too, is because the last census was actually wrong. The way they did it. They have a majority of Republican states, like I think it was like 5 or 6, were counted too low when it comes to population, and then all the Democrat states, like I think it was like 3 or 4 or 5 or something like that, were counted too high. So that affected the congressional districts. It also affected the electoral college. Like if they would have done it right and got the population right, Republicans would have had 10 more seats in the Congress. That's how many seats they would have. And Democrats would have lost 9 seats. And then when it comes to that's 19 seat difference swing right there. And then you have a swing also in electoral college. It would have been 8 electoral swing, because Democrats would have lost 4 and Republicans would have gained 4. So Trump would have had, instead of 312 electoral college votes, he would have had 316 if it was done the way it was supposed to be done.
Yeah, and that's, man, did Trump not set people on fire when it, not politically, I mean, not literally, but like when he said, we're going to do a recensus, we need to check and we're not counting illegals.
Well, here's the thing. He's going to have a hard time doing that constitutionally, because in the Constitution, when it comes to the 14th Amendment, I believe it's Section 1, Article 2, I think is what it was. And in it, it says person. It doesn't say citizen. Yeah. That's the thing. And the reason it says that is because it was a dramatic switch with the 14th Amendment. What it was meant to do is make it where you had to count former slaves as a whole person instead of 3/5. And when that happened, they dramatically went the other direction and decided, instead of doing citizen, they called it a person. Because at the time, 15th Amendment hadn't come out where they would granted citizenship.
So, there needs to be an amendment done to that to fix that in the Constitution to be able to say citizen instead of person.
Yeah, the only way you can fix that is by having Congress, Congress and Senate would have to vote on that. They would have to get
Mm-hmm.
3/4 vote, I believe, in both chambers. Or
That's
no,
going
I'm
to be hard
sorry,
to do.
a 2/3 vote, 2/3 vote
Yeah,
in
yeah,
both
yeah.
chambers, and then the states that would also do a convention of states. They would have to do the same, and that's just nearly impossible. It's not going to happen. So pretty much, not only that, it's actually been taken to the Supreme Court 3 different times. Once in the 1920s, once in the 1980s, and once actually in the 2020. Trump took it there, tried to change,
Yeah.
take illegals off there, and the Supreme Court always went against it. So, and it's really the same Supreme Court as it is now when it comes
Yeah.
to this, and I don't see them changing their mind on that. They're not going to take it off there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the one I'm watching for is actually the Supreme Court saying district lines based on race is illegal. That right there will change everything, because then they're going to have to redraw all their lines, and if they do, Republicans will gain about 27 to 28 seats.
Yeah. Well, that'd be good. That's not bad. But it would be nice to be able to afford it. Like, we've really got to secure this country, not because I'm not against immigration, because a lot of the people who come to this country legally are more productive Americans than half the people who've lived there their whole lives, because they study this place. They love the freedom. They want to preserve that.
Yeah, they're more productive people, not citizens. People.
Yeah, people. There you go. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, good one, man. I like that. That's a good way to put that. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, but the people that have came here illegally, not all, because I can take back to a day when people would come to this country illegally just to work. Yes, they sent money home. That sucked, but they didn't bother anybody. They just would do stuff and then go back home. And y'all can hate me for this, but like, that's not that big of a deal to me. It shouldn't do some of that stuff, but what happens is it got exploited, and a lot of really bad people came over here, and it made it bad for the people who just came over here to do some stuff.
Well, see, we're conflating two things. Let's get this straight. People that come, I worked in the oil field and also in construction, so I worked with some immigrants, right? They were here. When you come here and you work and you have a work visa, you're not illegal. Okay, that's number one. Well, you're coming here, you work for 6 months, then you have to go back home, and they live high on a hog for that 6 months they're home, because they make way more money here than they do in their home country. They go back home, stay with their family, then they come back with because they have to renew their visa every year. Sometimes it's 3 months, sometimes it's 6 months. It really depends on the visa and what kind of work they're doing, because a lot of times the work they're doing is seasonal. So I agree with you. Some of these people, great workers, they're great to work with. I think they need to pay more taxes on the remittances, and Republicans add taxes to the remittances, which is the money they're sending back home. I think it's only 1%. I think it should have been 10%, if not more. And
at least sales tax 7%.
Well, yeah, at least that. I think it should be. I think it should be 10 to 12, even higher. But anyway, the point is, I'm not a huge fan of conflating those people with the people that came here during Biden's administration. These people didn't come here to work. They came here to live on the public dole and get food stamps, Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, and completely bankrupt the United States. That was the plan of the Democrats, the plan of the globalists to do so, and try to collapse the United States. And
that's a big problem.
A lot of these people were getting also loans for cars, getting these IDs that were completely
big money. And not to mention, this was a good opportunity for Chinese nationalists to come up through here. Terrorist organizations that will be sleeper cells to attack infrastructure in strategic times. I'm not going to say, I'm only going to speculate, but we had a issue where a steel plant just exploded, and that could have been totally, infrastructure problem there and everything. But we do know that there's Trump's tariffs and all that and everything would bring more production over the United States. So why not destroy a steel production plant to have to be able to, I'm totally.
Here's the thing about steel. Steel, when it gets really, really hot, it could actually cause issues like that. So I was not surprised. It's kind of like a fertilizer plant. When I hear fertilizer plants on fire, I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all.
Yeah, but chicken, egg processing facilities and food plants, that's a little weird.
That's weird because, I got a lot of questions about that. Why you have so many in a short period of time? That's number one. I understand there might be some electrical issues and stuff like that because the United States, I'm sorry, but we're behind the 8 ball when it comes to our infrastructure and buildings, as well as our electrical, our electric units in the United States. I think we need to upgrade. Tremendously, and it's all these infrastructure bills and stuff. Whereas it goes to these pet projects that these senators and congressmen instead of actually going to do something with the grid and fixing the grid and try to actually do something that they will actually protect it, just in case you have a Carrington event that happens, takes out the electricity in the United States.
By the way, Matt,
then if that happens, you have 90% of the population that will die.
Now the Carrington event is an accelerated process now because of the poles that have shifted on the Earth, which has allowed for more of a vulnerability to geomagnetical storms from the sun's flares.
Yeah, you can.
The Carrington event was documented in the really early 1900s. When we had,
I think it was 1859.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. I think that, and by the way, Neely Spivey, thank you for becoming a new member to this wonderful channel that we're trying to put together for everybody. Thank you so much, man. And thank you, Will Brooks, for being here, my beautiful wife. That really helps. Stephanie. It really helps. Yeah. But recent, it was like brand new telegraph lines were starting to come up where we were having somewhat of a way of communicating. There was, and immediately when this geomagnetical storm came in, the wires were on fire because it became antennas, and this intense magnetic field came in, and that was really crazy for people to see. And they were actually saying that what was going to happen with this last big storm we had from the sun's solar flares, that it could happen, but it didn't. Thank goodness. It didn't.
Well, the last, I think 3 or 4 storms we've had, they said something like that was going to happen, and see. Those storms, when they hit, it affects certain parts of the earth, and luckily 70% of the earth is water, so that's where it hit. Luckily it hit, and it didn't hit land. The Carrington event that happened in 1859, that actually hit the United States, and it affected I think almost 90% of the communications at that time.
Yeah.
So we had to go back to to riding horses to actually communicate across states and stuff like that until they got
anything that was conductive was immediately affected by that. Now, I know we're a little bit off subject of what we're talking about, but it was interesting Matt brought that up because. No. This shows a stream of consciousness. We're going to talk about Ken Paxton, but it's very much true what happened there, and could happen. We're at that precipice now where, because of the pole shift, we have weakening solar winds that kind of protect us from that stuff. And this is a good talking point for the people who want to fearmonger the public, because that was a thing. I mean, it's good to be aware of that, but now they can facilitate that new talking point. But like Will Brooks said, anything conductive metal wise it became railroad tracks got melted, everything, just because it was like a microwave event that took place, and it affected people too, and wildlife. Everything got screwed up for a little bit there. I remember that recent solar flare that came in. I do ham radio stuff, and I'm like, I left everything hooked up, on a cheap radio just in case it got kind of intense. But I listened to the sound of that dispersion of energy that was produced. I actually could see some auroras where I was at in North Carolina. I could see that. I looked up, and the sky was just blood red, then it turned green. It was pretty wild to actually watch out there and listen to it on the air. The way it sounded, it was absolutely eerie. I will never forget that experience. And the way that I was communicating with locals that were only a few miles away, how good I could hear them for a minute, and then how it would just about cut them completely out. Very interesting to hear the way it affected our ionosphere, because that's how our radio communications happen, the conductivity and polarity of that. But anyways, moving on, shifting gears a little bit, guys. Yes, they're on their way back, and everybody's going to calm down. But I still, in my opinion, some kind of recourse needs to happen to these people for just fleeing like that, taking bribes by taking this real high dollar airplane and just pretty much going on a vacation of just F you and the A, Democrats, screw you Texans.
I think their plan was actually try to get it in the news, make it a big deal and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And they said they accomplished that, and they come back home. What they accomplished really is showing that they're cowards. They weren't willing to fight for what they believe in inside the congressional body of Texas. So that's how I'm looking at it. And
let's see, but you're not a coward.
Well, the thing is, they flee to Texas. They flee out of Texas, went to Illinois, a state that's gerrymandered to hell. Also went to Massachusetts and other states to try to, and then the governors of those states try to lecture Texas about not gerrymandering.
Wow, they gerrymandered. It was so bad that even Stephen Colbert brought it up. Like, well, you do. That's Stephen Colbert trying to get some ratings at the very end there. He did call Pritzker out. Pritzker was like, "Damn, I'm on your show, dude. What the hell?" But
MSNBC did too. MSNBC did too. And it was rightfully so, because they're like this. What the thing is, people are seeing the hypocrisy from the left, and there's
people who want to see it are seeing it. Now you got to remember, a lot of the side of the aisle are cowards, and this is how they operate. So they still don't see any wrong in it. They think that what was done was, these people were right. Yeah. Cause they're cowards too. You're not a coward. I'm not a coward. We see the wrong in it. And so that's only prevalent or visible by people who aren't cowards. Cowards are going to, fall in line and be like, yeah, this was a good thing. But I'll read this article real quick.
Yeah. Are you?
Go ahead.
Well, I already read the article. We could talk about it, but this Illinois judge denies AG Paxton's request to enforce arrest warrant.
Oops.
Okay. All right. What did you think about that? Were you like this? Were you like that judge is wrong, or do you think he should have enforced it?
Should have enforced it.
I completely disagree. Here's my thing. Let's say Trump would have not went to his trial in one of these states that he was prosecuted in, and he decided to stay in Florida. Does the Florida governor have to arrest him and go by that warrant? No, he don't. So that's what he doesn't have to. What the state needs to do is actually ask for a transfer from one state to another. But the thing is, the state doesn't have to actually comply if they don't want to. There's nothing in the Constitution that actually talks about they have to comply with that. What the state wants, especially since it has to do with politics more than anything else.
Well, then, okay, all right, okay. So that's a good point. I won't argue that, but I just want to see some arrests on these criminals. That's all.
Well, the thing is, did they do anything really illegal? I would say the most illegal thing they did was probably taking bribes. Yeah, I agree with that. But the thing is, they have to come to Texas for you to actually prosecute that. Because it's a state crime. It's not a federal crime. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, the one that actually I think is actually going to get the brunt of the prosecution. Beto O'Rourke.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, because he kept on actually taking money when a judge told him he was not allowed to take money and use it for this anymore. Right?
Yeah.
He did rallies.
And
keep on taking money to actually fund this stuff. And a judge told him you couldn't do that anymore in Texas. He ignored it, and he said, "F the rules." And he's like, they're like this. Okay, then there's consequences when you say that, when you do that, and you're going to go to jail. We'll see what happens with Beto O'Rourke. That's the one I'm interested in.
Do you think anything will happen?
All right. I think legally it should happen. It has to happen. He ignored the judge. I mean, he should at least get 4 months for not complying with the judge's order. I mean, what is that? That's
Contempt.
Contempt of court. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, how long did the Bannon and what's his name Navarro get for contempt of Congress? 4 months.
What is it,
4.5
9 months? Oh, is it
No,
fall? Okay.
They got 4.5 months. So I was like,
Okay.
Beto should at least get that. And I'm telling you right now, that little prus wouldn't last a week in jail. So
No. The weed's not legal in jail, so he'd be kind of screwed. Yeah. Where's it at? Let me see here. I'm trying to see. I got a video in case people hadn't seen that. But did you ever? I don't mean to change subjects, but I was thumbing through my Twitter and like Benny Johnson goes to Jasmine Crockett's district where she's supposed to be running and stuff, and man, and so, but what Benny Johnson did too, which was pretty funny. I have to give him props for this. This was good content, but he went to where Jasmine Crockett went to high school in a private school, and went to where Jasmine Crockett was then sent to that college in Tennessee, which was like both of these are very, very, very elite colleges.
Well, her private school, and when she went to high school, was actually in Missouri.
Right. But it was expensive. I mean, my gosh, it was what people almost making a year's wages is what her.
It was $35,000 a year.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're working at used to with regular minimum wage or right above it, that's you made about that $35,000 to $40,000 a year. At a job where you worked every day for 8 hours a day, and you're supposed to raise a family on that. That's almost just right below middle class. I mean, nearabouts, and she's going to high school.
$35,000 a year is poverty. That's poverty level.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, but you get around 40, it's almost middle class. You get almost there, but I'm still saying that's a year's wages for some people. Like but
I'm just going by. Someone said 21,000 a year. I'm just going by what Benny Johnson said on the show. He said she was paying $35 a year. Our family was.
Yeah. Here's better work.
We are in a basketball game right now, if you'll excuse the metaphor, where the refs have left the arena. And the other side is just clobbering the shit out of us, just punching us in the face, kicking us in the nuts. And we're kind of throwing our hands up and we're asking the crowd, the people of America, hey, do you see what's going on here? This is unfair. This isn't the rules that we agreed to play by. Well, who cares about the fucking rules right now? Punch back, kick back, dunk over their heads, and win some fucking power.
That very last part of that sentence where it says win some effing power. That is disturbing to me. That's very, very, very disturbing. I mean, yes, it's obvious that's what their plan is, but they're not hiding it anymore. And power doesn't mean that you're going to be this wonderful leader who's going to bring, this great stuff to your district, your country, your state. Power means that I will be able to reign over you and decide your next move. That's what he wants. That's what they are trying to do. He didn't say become great leaders or enrich your community with wonderful stuff and sprinkles and all that. He says, go get some effing power. This is their mindset.
Yeah.
That's very disturbing to hear that. I mean, those kind of people have no business being anywhere close to anybody that has.
McFadden, thank you for that. Yeah, you're probably right. It probably was 21,000 in her day. She's my age, so yeah, you're probably right. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the information.
Sharpton Man in Texas. So what happens to my script? Oh wait. So what happens to my script to was Will? Does that one keep charging away or do tell?
Yes.
Oh yeah. It'll be the same.
Yeah,
everything's it's the same. Thank you, Sharpton Man, for supporting us. By the way, thank you very much.
We could actually look at your message and tell you're still a member. So
yeah, everything's still there.
There's a little symbol off there, and you're also green, so that tells you you're a member. Thank you for being a member.
By the way.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because I promise you, I'm not making people, don't think I'm not making much off of this channel. Just as far as YouTube payout, last month I didn't even make enough to get paid. I mean, you have to make it like $100 to get a payment out of YouTube, and I think I cleared $80 that rolled over to the next month, and I'm fine with that. I'm not doing this for the money. It helps. It helps. Believe it or not, I actually take time away from my work and my family, and I'm doing it for the country. So if there's a little financial compensation there, it's greatly appreciated. But it's not. People think, well, he's got 80 something things making. No, my little bitty Will Fix It channel triples, which is still not much, but triples the actual income that this big channel does because of what YouTube does. Even the views I get, the ad revenue is real. They give you ad revenue that's about the bare minimum. So if you do actually break 1,000 views, you might make like $6 off a video.
Well, I was going to also add to McFadden's comment about the 35,000. It was 21,000 30 years ago, and it's 35,000 now. Well, the reason it is probably because of inflation.
Yeah.
So that's the reason they brought it up to 35,000. That'll be my guess. Like colleges, I remember. Well, actually, like I think colleges have went up like crazy. A lot of it, they say it's because of inflation, but a lot of it also is because they're
money laundering, not getting as much money from USAID.
Yeah, they want as much money as possible. But anyway, what were we talking about when it comes to the video? Yeah, look, am I surprised he said that? No. Here's the thing: they're out of power completely right now, and they're so upset over it. They're willing to do whatever it takes to get some kind of power in order to either block Trump's ability to do much of anything, or they will. I'll tell you right now, if they don't win the House in this coming up election,
let's go.
they're gonna blow their top off. They're gonna lose their mind. You will see. I mean, you will see them lose their shit. Okay, that's what will happen. Because they're gonna be like, well, how are we gonna do what we want to do? What's the chances of us winning 2028? I mean, they've been doing everything they can to go after Trump when it comes to separating families and so on and so forth. When it comes to immigration and also, just name it. I mean, they're going after him for actually fertilizing DC when it comes to the police stuff because of crime. And the thing is, dude. Majority of them are really happy he did. Like if you look at the media, there's stories from the media saying this is a good thing. This should have been done a long time ago because of all the crime that happens there. And then you have NPR, someone from NPR, which NPR doesn't exist anymore because they closed shop. But a reporter went out there and it's like this. Look, we talked to people out on the street before we closed up, and a lot of them aren't even reporting crimes anymore because nothing happens to them.
Right. Yeah. And see, there's like a 400% increase in spending on this company that pays for people to protest. And it's because they're facilitating their amenities to DC. So a lot of these protests that you see from people that are out there aren't even legitimate on the books protesters. These are people probably not even from DC and being paid to do so. Like we've seen that before many times. So I don't know, so that's only actually angering the public even more because they're sitting there watching people that's not even from DC, like, we're tired of what Trump's doing. And there's a lot of people who are saying, no, we want this to happen. And I want to show you, I got some stuff here. Where's it at? It's hard to find. Anyways, I'm kind of thumbing through stuff, but there's just too many people out there who want Trump to do what he's doing. They're happy, and all it's doing is making it worse on the left side by trying to villainize this.
Hey, you want to put that comment up real quick?
What? Oh my goodness! Sharpen Man in Texas. Yes. I'm sorry, I was flipped over scrolling through some stuff, and so I can't see the comments on the side. Thank you so much. Great. Thank you so very much. Let's see what Archibald Show. How about these apples? Yeah, big damn apples. Yes. Thank you. That's going to piss off YouTube because they're trying like crazy to keep me from trying to make any kind of revenue off of the stream. Like, yeah. Of course, dude, that's a big help. Thank you. Yes. I want to also wave a hand at Lissette, Arthur Drake, Low Dimes, AC Cruz, Dennis Gillespie. Just let you know, I am watching the comment section, but I'm just trying to run everything in the back here. But we've got this is some of the stuff from DC. This you may or may not have seen this, but it seems like a lot of the people that they're interviewing about what Trump's doing are actually the criminals that are operating in DC. So of course they're going to be like, a little upset. But this guy here is supposed to be some kind of community organizer, and most of the community organizers are just like what we've seen when it comes to small grassroots facilitation of money laundering and activist people who work for like George Soros and stuff.
We have home rule for a reason.
Because if it's safety and crime the president is worried about, Green has some thoughts to add to his agenda.
Or is he going to come pick up our trash next? Is that what I should expect? We do have areas with high grass that he can cut. I have infrastructure problems in my community. Can he put some funding on the table for that?
He shouldn't be making those kind of decisions. That's more like a dictator.
Gotti thinks that if this is the way the administration is going to continue,
everybody now is in like a big old gumbo pot of, you know what I'm saying? You don't know what's in it. You know what I'm saying? That's all. You don't know what you're going to get served.
You might get, I said this in one of the other videos, you might get a nice cherry pie, creme brulee, or you might get a punch in the face, but you don't know what you're going to get served because we're all in a gumbo pot. This is that guy. That's not good.
You know what I find interesting? In California, whenever Xi Jinping showed up, I believe it was in, was it L.A. or was it San Francisco?
San Francisco.
They decided to federalize that city for a couple of days so they could clean up, get all the illegals out of there on the streets, also get all the homeless off the streets and make it pristine, look good. They even they spent a lot of money cleaning that place up for about a week, actually, and to make it look real pristine for them. No complaints from the media. They didn't go and interview the homeless people that were forcefully removed, and not only that, they didn't talk to anybody on the streets about them federalizing that city or really statenize that city, controlled by the state, in order to clean it up for a leader of a foreign country. But Trump decides to take over DC and federalize it in order to protect the citizens of the city and try to clean it up and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, he's a dictator. It's absolutely insane to me, and the hypocrisy I see in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, that's typical of the left, anyways, because they'll do stuff and then. But I'm just remembering what you were talking about Xi Jinping and all the homeless people being like just scooped up, and there was all these cryptic videos coming out. I don't know how legitimate some of them were, but they were like, where did they go? Where did they go? What did they do with all the homeless people? They were just gone. Like the 1 minute they were all there, the next minute it's like they were just gone. And what happened to those people? Muted, sir. Try that again. Bring it up.
Well, they're back on the streets again. Actually, San Francisco went back to the way it was. The only places they really cleaned up were places they were going to drive Xi Jinping from.
They put all these fences up. All these fences, we don't like walls, they don't like borders, they don't like fences, but they had fences down the sidewalk, everywhere to protect for Xi Jinping's protection, so that nobody could touch him. And
they didn't want him to go outside those walls either to see the disgusting nature of what's happened to San Francisco in the last 30 years.
So who owns San Francisco? Is it America or is it Xi Jinping?
It's America. Yeah.
They're buying books, yeah, but Xi Jinping also had or maybe still does have that Communist Party chick who can't even legally vote running elections over there in San Francisco. I don't know if she's still there or not.
See, whenever I hear Democrats say my family's illegal or I'm illegal, I look at it as it's not true. What they're trying to do is get clout. That's all it is.
But it was actually true that there was a chick running the San Francisco elections in charge of that who was not a legal citizen.
I just tell you, I don't believe it. I'm just telling you, I really don't.
It was Grokey even actually confirmed that.
We'll see. Anyway, I'm just telling you, there's a lot of people say a lot of things to try to get clout and try to get misinformation out there. And not only that, they want television cameras on them. They want the exposure because perfect example is that woman out of Michigan. I'm sorry, not Michigan, but out of Minnesota, who said that she was an illegal immigrant. No, she isn't. I was like, she came to the United States in 1977. So guess what? And now, well, it's not only that. Her grandfather fought with the United States in Vietnam as well, or was it Laos? I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, so she was brought here because she was actually a political refugee. That normally gives you status in the United States where you become legal. But even then, you have Reagan in the 1980s who legalized 3 million illegals. Guess what happened? That made her legal at that point too, because she was here in the United States. So when I hear stuff like that from people, I question how old are they, how long they've been in the United States, and I question that about that woman as well. So I haven't looked into that about her and see if that's true or not. But you know, when I hear people say it, I'm like, you just want to get either ICE over there to check you out, or you're trying to get clout with the Democrat Party and try to move up in political ranks. That's what that woman's trying to do in Minnesota because she wants to run for governor.
Who's that chick?
What I found interesting, as soon as after that happened, she got a massive amount of donations, and she started her position to run for governor of Minnesota. So I'm just telling you, a lot of people that say that they're looking to run for governor. Just saying, or whatever political office is above where they're in.
Here's this from back in February of 17th of 2024. This is all I mean, therefore I am, by the way. Been doing content on Twitter for a long time. But San Francisco appoints first non-citizen to serve on elections commission, Kelly Wong, who came to the U.S. in 2019 from China.
Look, a non-citizen is different than an illegal immigrant. I'll tell you that.
Well, I didn't say she was illegal. I said she's not legally able to vote.
Well, some non-citizens can vote in elections depending on the state.
Stands here from China and isn't legally allowed to vote, will be overseeing and creating policy for San Francisco elections.
Okay, that's weird. That's weird.
Yeah, Wong is an immigrant rights advocate who wants to educate other immigrants who don't speak English about the voting process. And there's more too. Here is a news, some kind of Mark Lewis is talking about this. So it's pretty, I think it's legitimate.
Fears rise of China supervising American elections as a Chinese immigrant with no U.S. passport is sworn in on San Francisco's Elections Commission. Kelly Wong has become the first non-U.S. citizen ever appointed to such a post.
There are plenty of even non-Republican citizens who could have filled this role. They chose to go in a different direction with the non-citizen.
The woman doesn't even have the right to cast a ballot, yet she will be overseeing all public elections in the city.
She wants the taxpayer dime to go to making voter materials in all different languages, Mandarin, Cantonese, you name it, yet she doesn't want people to assimilate.
Before 2020, only citizens could seek office on city boards, commissions, and advisory bodies. But since then, in San Francisco, the requirement has been removed. Fears rise of China supervising.
Okay, so she didn't run for office. She was actually appointed.
Either way, there's somebody running elections who can't legally vote.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, she's part of an election board. She's actually not running it. She's actually part of the board that is running it. So
there's
a lot of stuff in that. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I agree with you. She has no right to actually be doing that. Number two, why is she here?
But San Francisco, it's ironic. It's San Francisco, the same place that Xi Jinping went to visit. Where that's why I was like, who owns this?
Well, here's the question: does she have any connections with the Chinese Communist Party? I would ask that question, and then I'd ask what kind of connections does she have with Saltwell?
Well, going back to how the CCP operates. You technically can't just leave China. Like Chinese citizens who start a business in the United States have to. The Chinese Communist Party has a stake in that business. Okay, Then if you go to college, and this has been documented multiple times by other people, if you're a college student sent over here from China to go to the American colleges, you're required to report to the CCP almost daily. They even have secret police departments set up in states. We know this because this has actually been found out, to keep some of these people in line so that they don't try to step outside of that and get comfortable. And then, you know, they make sure they keep tabs on all these Chinese. It's so like if you go to a Chinese restaurant, 90% of the chance that Chinese restaurant has got CCP ties. And most of the time, the only people that actually get to come to the United States without CCP control are the ones that come here illegally, because China technically doesn't know they left.
You know what I find weird? At the Chinese food restaurant here where I live at, you know who owns it?
Probably some Mexican people.
Yes. yes.
Yeah.
It's like the Italian, also the Italian place that is right down the road. I've been in there once, just curious, and I to eat there. I never ate there, and I opened the menu, and I'm like, this half of it is Italian food, the other half is Mexican food, and then I look at all the cooks, and I look at the owner. All of them are Mexicans. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, well, like, you know, this is the reason why I know this is because I've been to Chinese restaurants before, and like it's like they find Mexicans with Chinese traits, because I'll talk to them and they'll say something to me like, "You ain't Chinese at all." I'm like, and then they go shh, but you don't know. Yeah. Looking at them, and you know,
the CCP don't have anything to do with them, okay? Because
no, I'm just saying, that's why I said 90%. I didn't say 100 because you know, but if it's a Chinese owned and back, you know, Chinese people who own this,
well, that's any business in the United States. Any business that's actually from China that came to the United States and is operating in the United States, they have a percentage of their companies owned by the CCP. That's the only way you could actually have a business in China is because that's part of communism and also fascism. In order for that to work, is you got to see a direct line between the business and the government itself.
Yeah. Well, either way, that's really disturbing. You got better at work saying, "Get some effing power." You got a chick running and stuff.
Like China, people keep on calling them communist. I don't think they are communist. You know what I classify them as? Ethno-fascist state.
I can see that.
Here's the thing, you know, you can't become if you're not Chinese, you can't be a citizen of China. That means you got to be ethnically Chinese. If you live there as if you're European descent, or if you're African descent, or anywhere else in the world, even North Koreans can't live there as a Chinese citizen. You have to be ethnically Chinese.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, you don't see any Europeans there, like European countries like that.
I'm going to put together a compilation of funny real quick here. Let's see here. By the way, Brandon Johnson says that, what was it? Trump is intimidated by the intellectual powers of blacks like me. That's what Brandon Johnson was quoted saying the other day. But I want to find, where is Rosie O'Donnell at?
Intellectual, wait a minute. Intellectual powers?
Yeah.
Brandon Johnson said that?
Yeah.
He's an idiot.
Where's it? Well, of course he is. It takes an idiot to say so.
No. He's not an idiot for saying that. He's an idiot because everything else he said before.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I do. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's see if I can put this together and flow accordingly. Here we go. All right, here we go.
Black out the system. Black out the system.
All right, that's Rosie O'Donnell. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. So I think this is what they meant.
The president has been trying to provoke violence here, right here, in the black communities and in the brown communities, having ICE kidnap our neighbors, having the black community be harassed and profiled and want a response. We say, hell no, we won't go.
I'm just saying. I think they took that a little too literally. They might have took that just a little too.
I got a comment. Who would you want to live there? I don't care who lives there or not. When it comes to China, all I'm saying is no. Majority of other countries in Europe and Europe don't do that. Why? And if they did, you know what would happen? That was my point. And not only that,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but a fascist ethno state, and Democrats want to be more like that. I was like, this. That tells you everything you need to know. Okay, that's my point. Okay. Now, and the thing is, when it comes to ethno states, they're not the only one. You have Japan; they're an ethno state. They're not fascist, but they are an ethno state. You also have parts of Africa, ethno states. But the thing is, if a European country decided to ever become an ethno state, what would happen? People would lose their shit all over the world. They'd call them Nazis and so on and so forth. But
it's okay for China.
But it's okay for China. It's okay for Japan. It's okay for half of Africa. It's also okay for almost any other group of people to do that. But white people, as soon as that happens, they lose their shit. So that's my point.
Yeah, it's a little weird. It's a double standard. It means that there's a power structure that exists in China that's kind of intimidating to other world leaders for some odd reason. Either that or they own something that.
Well, I don't think that's the case. I think it has to do with WEF. The WEF is a group that looks at people that are our complexion, and like they're harder to control than other people with other people's complexion. That's how they're looking at it. I don't think that's true, but that's how they look at it. And they look at instances like China and parts of Africa where they're ethno-fascist states, and they're like this is where we want to go. We want to be able to control the populace and keep them under our thumb. And they're like this. They're like, this is the way. They have 15-minute cities. This is the model we want to adopt. I'm sorry, I don't want to live in a city that has 26 million people. Sorry, I'm not interested. I'm just not.
Speaking of that, you said 15-minute city just brings to mind as this stream of conscious kind of comes to play out. I was doing a video this morning and putting together some content, and I accidentally ran across a Gavin Newsom tweet where he was like, yes, we have put together a group of people. We're sending aid down to what was it? Puerto Rico, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he was like, we protect our American citizens. And I was like, okay. I understand Puerto Rico is a sort of a thing with America and whatnot, but
well, their territory.
Right. Yeah, I understand that. I'm not arguing that.
They're actually considered U.S. citizens. They can vote.
Okay, that's fine. Totally understand that. But you had to reach across the blue waters to do that, but you couldn't go just a few miles down the road and help people out in L.A.
Well, I'll tell you right now, Puerto Rico, like that joke that was at Trump's what's it called his rally he had in New York, where that comedians said, compared it to a dump. The reason he came up with that is because the island itself is there's so much trash there and so many dump yards there. It's starting to be like a mountain of trash that's being built on, and there's also a lot of infrastructure issues and stuff like that. I'll tell you right now, Puerto Rico, in my opinion, there's parts of it that's beautiful, and there's other parts it's a third world country that's actually owned by the United States, and it's something that needs to be repaired, in my opinion, because we need to take ownership for that.
Oh yeah, my point was you're totally right. Not arguing with that, but my point was just like you just had, because of the lack of infrastructure maintenance and possible strategic maneuvers when it comes to preventing certain events to take place, you completely annihilated people's homes, their land, and everything. And now on top of that, you're not. And when aid was there were people trying to come in with fire trucks. They were not allowed to come in because their vehicles didn't pass cerern emission standards.
Were you talking about
Palisades and Los Angeles?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't disagree with that. That has to do with the lack of water. Hell, I don't know if you know this, but
why would he virtue signal? I mean, I understand that basically what he's trying to do is damage control because he has a political career that it's leading off of what he's trying to do. I think you're right about him wanting to run for president. So he's like, look at what we're doing for the right. Yeah, Newsom is trying his best to do damage control, and the fact that the whole country knows that he's a dirtbag and didn't help the people.
Well, here's the other thing that's happening in California right now is a lot of these farmers are losing their farms because they restrict
water.
They cut the water off, restricted water
Yeah.
from them, and they're losing their cattle, they're losing their means of survival.
These are all land grabs.
Oh well, they want to. Well, it has to do more with climate change than actually.
Yeah, but the climate change is the agenda which drives people away to create an opportunity for a land grab.
Here's the thing: what you're doing is actually you're minimizing the amount of food the United States is making, and they also want to get people to stop eating beef as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, where's this water going? You're asking. It's going in the ocean.
Obviously. Yeah.
Instead of actually going to actually being kept for wildfires if they happen, or being used to actually lower the price of tap water or shower water that you drink at home or you shower in. Instead of doing that, they're dumping it all into the ocean and saying that like there's no extra water. We're in a drought. That's what they're saying. Instead of actually, and people are pointing this out. And unfortunately, the president of the United States needs to call this out and tell the truth about what's happening here. Of course, he's really busy. So
yeah, I understand that too. Yeah, there's a certain level of like, man, I could only imagine. I'd like to get all my 3-wheelers and Ford trucks running all at one time, but I can't find time to let alone try to do what. Could you imagine what?
That's also why Newsom's is also doing this whole thing about the redistricting lines, because it diverts your attention from what he's doing with water in California.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So that's there's a lot of strategy involved in their corruption. And the thing is like it makes no sense to put that much effort into being a dickhole. You could just be a decent person, and it would be a lot easier. The only thing I can say is the reason why they'd want to do that is because they don't answer to the Americans. They don't answer to the American politicians. They don't answer to the Constitution. They've pledged their allegiance to a society outside this United States, which is a globalist entity, which basically is providing them with the thought of them having a superpower structure and reigning over people, not being leaders and bringing us into a better world.
I got a question for Walter Davis. Are you from New Jersey? I'm just wondering if you're from New Jersey.
Yeah, they're doing that everywhere, by the way. And that's part what he's getting to is saying that the way that they're building these stack and pack houses and redoing a lot of the railroad tracks to become passenger trains is for the routes of public transportation due to the fact that you won't be able to own a vehicle, and that'll be able to provide that entity for 15-minute cities, which they're doing that everywhere now. The days of having
they're doing it here in Virginia and everywhere else. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're all gearing everything towards a 15-minute city setup. And it's very alarming to see them ram through their agendas right in front of our faces while we're calling it out.
Yeah, you were born there? Okay, cool. I was just wondering. I lived in New Jersey for about 3 years. I lived in Red Bank, so yeah. I like New Jersey wasn't that bad, except you can't do a left-hand turn in parts of it. Sucked at the time when I was a teenager.
Will Brooks, the corporate state controls the narrative, meaning it's all about money and how it can be used to remove free will from humanity. And it is dead on. I don't argue with that one bit. It's dead on. And the thing is, the money that we deal with is nothing. It's nothing. It doesn't even exist.
Walter Davis, do you think Republicans are going to win the governorship there in the 2025 election? Just curious. I'm not there on the ground. People are thinking that it's going to be close. I don't know. Yeah. The other thing also, Democrats are trying to say that it's going to be a blowout for the Democrats. I'm just wondering about someone that's on the ground that's seeing what's happening and might have a different opinion. Just curious. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, William.
No, you're good. You're totally cool, man. I like Will Brooks' comment. By the way, Will Brooks, a good friend of mine, is near and dear to me. And the level of what we're getting into so far as we talk a lot about politics and policy and all that. But it's a war on consciousness, and that is if you only start looking into the real inside of what the goal is, it is very much the case because consciousness is free will.
I would also add morality into that, consciousness and morality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Morality is all a part. Well, morality provides a certain a guardrail when it comes to decision making and allowing certain things to enter
Well,
in your train of thought.
it's downstream from consciousness, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I'm waiting on to hear from Walter's comment here, then we'll kind of. But it's just good to be able to talk about that, because when you start to understand that we're on consciousness, then you can actually see the bigger picture of things, and you can put pieces together that add up a math problem outside of what people's decisions are when it comes to policy in their state, why you see redistricting lines, what you see when it comes to media. It depends on how Trump is doing. He had a huge support, but mostly on the surface, people don't see him getting things done and it's losing support.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that when it comes to. I think it's the economy, stupid. I'm not saying that to you, Walter. I'm saying that in general. People always use
The
that
economy
term.
is kind of wonky.
It's the economy, stupid, and I think you're right. Even though inflation's went down, and you're starting to see people's pay go up, the thing is, it's not doing it fast enough. It's not doing it fast enough for this election that's happening in New Jersey or Virginia. And I think you're right. I think Democrats probably will win both those states, which is unfortunate. They probably will. I think Madani's going to be the mayor of New York City, which is sad.
And so will that Fataya dude over there in Minneapolis. He's going to be mayor too. Oh my gosh!
Isn't he running in 2026 though, or is that
whenever he finally runs? It's happening. He's going to be in there like swimwear.
No. My question is, when is that election? 2025, 2026? I don't know.
I think it's in 2025.
Okay. So, yeah.
I got to find out.
Here's the thing. Off-year elections like that, Democrats a lot of times they win because they have the infrastructure to do it.
Yeah.
The Republicans still don't have that infrastructure. Inflation in New Jersey is ridiculous. Comparing it to my home in PA. Oh, I'm sure it is. New Jersey's expensive anyway. Where in PA are you from? Are you from? Where in PA do you live? Do you live in like Philadelphia, or you live somewhere in the Appalachians? Because Appalachia is a lot cheaper than it is, and I'd say probably in Philly as well. I've done a lot of work in PA. PA is a good place. As long as you stay out of Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, you're good.
I'm just trying to see here. That dude is dangerous, by the way. He is dangerous. I don't know when he is.
Oh, to make it seem that Trump's failing, New Jersey state tax have gone up. I'm not surprised by that. There's a lot of stuff that's the Democrats are doing as much as possible to make it look like inflation and everything else is not going down by using taxes. And also, Jerome Powell's a big issue when he's not lowering the interest rates, so people could get loans and stuff. And loans will be a little lower. That would also affect the inflation rate as well. He's not doing any of that, even though the whole time Trump's been in office, it's actually been down less than 2%. What they go by the 2.7% for the year, that includes the last 4 months of Biden's administration, which there's times he's above 3%. So it's kind of hard for him to do that and get it down less than 2% by what Jerome Powell wants to happen in order for him to lower interest rates. In order for Trump to do that, there's times he would have to have less than 1% interest rate, 1% inflation rate. And because of a lot of these bills the Democrats put in there, and also when it comes to COVID, it made it almost impossible. But anyway, sorry, go ahead. Play that.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, this is Fataya, the dude running the. I don't know what year it is exactly. I can't find it right off. I have to do some research.
Day one, if you were elected, what would be some of your top 2-3 priorities for the city?
So that's a very good question. So the first I would say would be a hostile federal government with not only Donald Trump in office, but he has essentially a trifecta, both chambers of Congress and the Supreme Court. And a lot of our neighbors, especially our undocumented residents, are very concerned.
So he's pretty much going to be protecting legals and building a sanctuary state situation. And by the way, a lot of that will be through the implementation of the 15-minute cities.
Well, Minneapolis is already a sanctuary city, so.
Yeah, but I mean, he'll be fortifying that maneuver, which is actually illegal. We can't do that. Shouldn't be able to do that. Anybody that's, yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I know he needs to be arrested. He's all these people need to be arrested. Whether it's like, to jail with you. So, but anyway, so we're at the top of the hour, and I'm going to have to roll out. I've got my helper; he needs me to come in there. We're getting a motor out of a vehicle, and so we're going to check on what's going on out there. Thank you for doing the. Thank you, Sharpening Man in Texas. Thank you to all the people who have subscribed monthly to the channel. Check out Matt at American Patriots. And he's got a wonderful YouTube channel, super knowledgeable guy. And we do lives on Tuesday evening. And by the way, we're probably going to move this show. We're going to try a 6:30 slot on Thursday just to see if we can get more people in. It might be a little easier for some of the people who are at work too, because they're trying to watch during their lunch breaks and all. And so, you know, a lot of people will be able to get in there in the evenings at 6:30. Maybe it'll help. That's something the plan is.
If y'all could comment down at the bottom, let us know if you think that's a good idea.
Yeah, we'd love to see the comment on that. Like I say, moving this show to it, and it plus two, it would kind of keep me rolling at work a little bit. Because I'm in the middle of, I'll stop what I'm doing to do this, and I don't mind. It's all good. I love this country, and I love all the people out here that's been involved with this since day one. Yeah, thanks, Will. Yeah, I go to bed at 5, LOL, but I get up at midnight. That's pretty good. Well, you can watch the thing. I know I did a late stream one night, and all of a sudden here come Ian Cope Dog. I was like, wow. I was doing a test stream when I was messing with that soundboard, you know. So yeah, Walter Davis 6:30 sounds good. Yeah, but I was surprised all the people that popped in at midnight. I was like, look at this, because it was like 11:45. But yeah, we'll try a couple weeks at the 6:30 to see how it does. We like to increase the reach of what we're doing here, and just make this viewing a little easier for everybody. Thank you, Carrie, for being here too, by the way. Jude, God bless. So all you wonderful people out there, have a wonderful rest of the day. Good week ahead, and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you, Matt, very much. And we are slowly but surely going to roll out as soon as I get everything where I can do that. So all right, here we go. So change the